Okay, I think at this stage we'll move into substantive discussion around the recommendations. So are there councillors that would like to take a call on that?
Me.
I was almost about to move the recommendations, but Councillor Casey.
We have to mention the living wage because this is why these people are along here. This has been a long time coming. It's finally gone out to the people of Auckland. And I'm really sorry that Councillor Quacks isn't here today, because he made a big play the last meeting about where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Well, you see, the good thing about being a paper dinosaur is that I have lots of bits of paper in my office, and I have a big fat file called the living wage, and it contains all the bits and pieces of documents and reports that have been presented to councils and committees since about 2012 was the earliest. Because it actually came to my committee in 2012, one of the very first things that we discussed. And within that, there's a, he's on this committee. Dick, if you're watching, you were on this committee. It's the Auckland Plan Committee. 20 pages came with it. Excellent report listing evidence for Africa about why paying low-paid employees in your company, in your public entity, a decent wage. What's good about that? What can it achieve? Page after page after page. Now, he might just have forgotten, or he didn't keep the bit of paper. So it wasn't just one. I found quite a lot of bits of paper in there, and I'd like to share a couple with you. This one really touches my heart. The PSA, in one of the bits of paper presented to us at one of the committee meetings, spoke to our employees. So what they did was they gathered up people in our employ who are earning abysmal wages, and they asked them what it was like. And then they presented their findings back to us, and I'd like to share some of those, and even some quotes from our employees, because they'll still be there stacking the shelves, saving people from drowning, earning miserable wages as part of our organisation. And that's what this is going to change. So that had a big impact on me when I saw it. And the main findings, seriously, main findings, if you pay somebody a wee bit more money, they can make better choices about what they do with it. So if their car breaks down, or one of their children needs to go to the doctor, or even their dog needs to go to the vet, they've got a wee bit extra. It's not that hard. They don't have to go and pawn their gold ring. So it's about having more choices, being able to do better trade-offs. The other important thing, councillors, is that earning low wages made them feel undervalued. And we're talking about people who interface with the public. They are our public face. They are our lifeguards, our shelf stackers in the libraries who meet the public day and daily. So if we value them the way we say we do, then you pay them money that makes them feel valued. And the other thing that they said was, not everybody gets government help. I think there might be a supposition that if you're down at the bottom, the government will be giving you benefits. If you're just a tiny bit above that, you are really in struggle street. The living wage will give those at the bottom a little bit more money to relieve the burden. You know, this is Auckland today. These are our employees. This is dated 2013. Most of them will still be there. I won't read you out the quotes, but you get they were very emotive, and I remember how disappointed everybody was when we lost the first vote. And I'm not even going to go back there. I'm just delighted that finally we're going to get Auckland to tell us what they want on this, and it'll be a resounding yes, I can assure you. Well, I can't assure you, but I'm fairly certain. But the other thing I found in there, Councillor Cooper, was a commitment to the living wage that you made in 2013 before you came on this council.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Point of order.
It is actually not true. I know because I was there. So I would ask that that's withdrawn and apologised, because that is not true.
I'll put it a different way. I'll withdraw and apologise and put it a different way. What I found in there...
That was just, sorry to interrupt, that's a 1 minute bell, 1 minute left to speak.
Finished.
Oh, okay,
I'm finished.
great.
No. And we go over time, Mr Mayor. What I found in there was what the Living Wage Aotearoa sent to me and to all councillors who said they were going to sign up to the living wage back then in October 2013. There were a number of us just before the election who went to public meetings and said yes to it. And I found that document, and I'm happy to recirculate that if anybody's forgotten what it said. That's all. Thank you so much. If it wasn't for you, Mayor Goff, this wouldn't be happening, and I'm really, really grateful.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Further calls? If there's no further calls in the general discussion, Councillor Lee, Mike Lee.
I want to come back to process, Mr Mayor, and the question of key stakeholders. Who is a key stakeholder and who is deemed not to be a key stakeholder? And I have to say, the process has evolved over recent years away from the egalitarian approach that everyone's submission was treated equally in the process. What has happened is that the average person who wants to write and speak to a submission before the governing body is now unable to, and I don't think that is appropriate. I don't think that is within the spirit, at least, of the Local Government Act. But it is something that we need to address. And as we evolve the process by the example of having have your say meetings, and no, I won't comment on that, but I attended the first have your say meeting with the former mayor on Waiheke Island. That was well attended. I've been to later have your say meetings where council staff well outnumbered the one person, I think, who was a ratepayer in the room. But I think we just need to look at the process and improve it. Now, the Chief Executive talked about choice, and I believe in that. So if people want to have a more informal meeting and voice their concerns, and officers and maybe politicians who are present note those concerns down, that's fine, but that is not a proper consultation process. What is missing from the process is what the key stakeholders, the privileged ones, get in this town, and they get to come along and address the people who are going to make the decision. And I think to modify the process, it wouldn't take that much to enable or to let the public know that if they want to speak to a written submission, they can come along and be a part of that key stakeholder meeting, because the attitude of this council should be that every single Aucklander is a key stakeholder, no matter how much money or how big your company or interests are. So, Mr Mayor, may I suggest a slight amendment that enables ordinary members of the public, ratepayers or citizens who want to submit, to come along and be included in that meeting before the complete governing body, which is the body that makes the decision over their rates. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. If I can refer you to the screen, and there is an amendment that has been tabled by Councillor Newman that reads, the Council will extend to any submitter who wishes to do so the opportunity to participate in an annual plan meeting, hearing, before the governing body. That would be an amendment by way of addition to E.
It might be
So I'll give that's now the topic for discussion before the governing body. So if I can ask Councillor Newman to speak to his amendment, which I think is in line with what you were asking for, Councillor Lee.
Oh, thank you, Mr Chair. And there is a second. I'm actually not sure if it's the governing body, if it goes to Councillor Close's committee, the Finance Committee. So I'm happy if councillor close, amend the word governing body to finance committee or
Well, what
council.
about governing body members? Then it doesn't matter where
No,
it
no,
goes.
no, it needs to come here. And Mr.
Sorry, it's your amendment, so you're asking it to be changed to before the Finance and Performance Committee?
If the hearings are to be heard before the Finance
So
and
we'll make that
Performance
change.
Committee, if that could be reflected. Your Worship, my amendment reflects the fact that of course this is a process which is about consultation and participation in a democratic process for ratepayers who are submitters on the draft annual plan. Now, not every submitter will want to come and participate in a formal hearings process. In fact, I would imagine that only a small minority would wish to do so, because hopefully there are many, many thousands of submissions and not everyone's going to want to do a submission before a committee of the whole. But I think that for the purpose of consistency, we ought to extend the opportunity to those who wish to submit in this format to be able to do so, and that for those who don't wish to do that, they can go to a Have Your Say forum. Your Worship, I took on board the comments that you outlined before. I value feedback in different forums. I value feedback by way of social media. I value forums that are culturally safe, that are sensitive, that are designed to broaden our conversation with the people of Auckland. And this is not about diminishing the Have Your Say discussion. That will proceed regardless. I will attend the Have Your Say discussions too. And when I do, I will listen and I will take notes. I'm not going to dominate these forums by giving speeches to sell the draft annual plan. But I will listen at those Have Your Say forums. But over and above that, there will be a formal hearings process. And what concerns me is the need to address a dilemma whereby elite personalities within the orbit of the council deem who is a key stakeholder. And for those who are deemed to be key stakeholders, they are invited to give their submissions and speak to their submissions at a committee of the whole. And for everyone else who is not deemed to be key, they are sent off to a Have Your Say forum. So, Your Worship, I think that we should just extend our consultation to ensure that those people who wish to do so are able to do so via a hearings process before the Committee of the Whole. And we look forward to hopefully receiving a range of submitters through that format. Yes, I would expect the EMA and others will be here, but I certainly hope that there will be a range of individuals, both people who submit every year and new people too, and they should be able to do so. And I think it will deepen our understanding of the range of views on the matters that will be outlined in this proposed draft annual plan, some of which will be contested, and that's a good thing. So, Your Worship, I commend the amendment for consideration.
Thank you, Councillor. I've effectively, I guess, had two speakers in favour of that amendment. I'm looking for other speakers.
Can I make a point of order here, please?
Yes, certainly. Point of order, Councillor Lee.
I raised the question of including all the public in a formal submission process, or the possibility or right. And I then, at the speaking part of the meeting, I proposed it. I'm quite happy to defer to Councillor Newman, who's tabled a written amendment along the lines that I was talking about, but I'd be happy if I was included as a seconder, so I can write back to the people who've complained to me that they've been included and say, we've sorted it. Because I did actually raise
What's
it.
the
Well,
point
you
of
can
order?
move it if you
What's
want.
the point of order?
If Councillor
Just-
Fitzpatrick
sorry,
will allow
sorry,
me to
it's,
slot in there. Thank
Is there
you.
a point of order?
It has been moved and seconded. I can't change that reality.
I
but
actually moved it first, actually, Mr Mayor.
If he wants to, he can.
I'm sure we can accommodate the member, but I had received first the formal amendment moved by Councillor Newman, and I was waiting for him to speak to it. So he gets precedence in the sense that even before the discussion started, Councillor Lee, he had tabled it. But I think, Councillor, you've made the point that you're in support of it, and you spoke first in support of it, and that's now on the record formally. Right.
Your Worship, I'm very happy to
Council-
defer. I understand the passion that Councillor Lee has for this, and I believe that this is a very sensible amendment that is being proposed by Councillor Newman, but I am happy to defer to Councillor Lee if he would prefer
So
to
we
second.
shall amend it to be seconded by Councillor Mike Lee. I'm looking for
Thank you,
further
Councillor.
discussion.